We were rocked by Michael Oher filing a lawsuit, seeking money, mega funds from his quote unquote adopted family, the Tuohys. They're now clapping back. And here's what they're saying about his monumental lawsuit. Remember, he alleged, you never adopted me. I just found out in February. I'm not really a family member here. And you have owned my likeness. You've owned my right to enter into deals, contracts. And oh, by the way, he alleges you profited off of the blind side. I got nothing. Where is the money? We're hearing from Sandra Bullock. She too is speaking out today. There you see the Tuohys, Michael Oher. They are saying that the football star, the football player, tried to extort money from them, wanted $15 million in order not to quote embarrass them, in order to keep this family secret, if you will. I want to stop there for a moment, AB, because Michael Oher says he got no money. The blind side was his story. Oh, by the way, you made yourselves look like the saviors, white saviors. You made me look stupid. And I'm still in this conservatorship that you pushed some papers in front of me and I had no idea. I'm 37 years old now. I met you when I was in high school and I can't even enter a deal without your permission. If he's just asking, let's say the facts of the case are close or mirror what he is alleging. If he's just asking for what he believes is rightfully his, is that a shakedown? Is it fraud?
If he is asking for what he truly believes is his, then I don't believe that that should be considered fraud or rather a shakedown. But when you feel violated, right? What do they say? A hit dog gonna holler. So when you feel violated and you have the ability to use language such as shakedown and fraud to try to manipulate the situation, then yes, you will, present yourself to the world as if that is what occurred. But my thing is always follow the paper trail, right? Also, if we are saying, and by their own admission in this movie, right? If they helped to create the storyline of this movie and he was so quote, quote, stupid, right? As Michael said, they made him look, and you made him look as if he was this vulnerable. Well, then that could be fraud on your part, right? And that could be a duress on your part, right? While you're saying you're trying to help him, if he was not knowledgeable completely of what he was signing, right? If he didn't have his own representation at this time, right? If he didn't understand the implication of the documents that you guys, or that allegedly, right, you had him sign, then again, there could be legal liability on your end for misrepresentation and your end for fraud. So my number one thing is look at the paperwork, look at the documents, and let's go through the timeline.
Yeah, well, Kevin Costner's soon to be ex-wife is saying, I didn't know anything about this prenup. I didn't read it. She told me to sign, I signed. I don't know that she's gonna be successful, but I am so curious about this one. Let's take a look at the lengthy statement that the Tuohys put out, went to TMZ to get their side of this story out because it is telling. And it's the vigor with which they are going after it. The language is coarse, it's harsh. Marty Singer is a bulldog. You know this, AP, in Hollywood. If you want to back somebody off, you call Marty Singer, okay? And he is the Tuohy family attorney. And here's some of the language here, okay? And it's threatening. Anyone with a modicum of common sense knows what's going on here, and you can read it for yourself there. Again, as far as we know in the public, they were family until 10 seconds ago in spirit, and we thought a legal document, adoption. That was not the case. The Tuohys said, well, we couldn't legally adopt you. We looked into it. We were just trying to protect you because we knew you wanted to go to Ole Miss, and we're boosters, and this was the only way it could happen if you're even thinking about it. But the lawsuit stands. What's the prediction here? Because when you put up a statement like that for all to consume about your son, there will be a countersuit, no?
From the family, will they countersue or will he counter? They can try. I mean, you can always countersue if you think that you have a legal issue, right? But I think part of the problem is listening to the statement. And one thing, you never want to tell your left hand what the right hand is doing, especially right before you go to court. unless unless you have a reason to be trying to shake things up in the court of public opinion. At the end of the day, it will still go through the judicial process, right? And the judge is going to look at the facts of the case, and the judge or whoever the trier of fact is in this matter is going to look at the facts, going to look at the documents, and is going to hear both sides. So you can say what you want to say in the media, right? Because you have free range and freedom of speech, but there are evidentiary rules when you get into the courtroom, right? And there are limitations on certain things you can say, which is why a lot of times we see people try to paint this negative narrative and be public in the media because you have more free range on what you can say. There's gonna be limitations when you get to court. So yes, you can file a countersuit if you like, but that does not mean it will be successful.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Marty Singer goes on to say that the conservatorship was established to assist Mr. Oher's needs. And then he lists health care, okay, health insurance, a driver's license. He needed to obtain a driver's license, and also to help with college admissions. It just doesn't sound reasonable. And he goes on to say that, hey, if he wants to terminate this anytime in the future, we're happy to. He said he wants to terminate it. How difficult is it, A.B., to terminate something like this? Because when you say, like me, lay people thinking Britney Spears, how difficult is it?
So I'll be honest, that's not my area of expertise, right? A conservatorship, but we could, see by example from Britney Spears. However, I believe the allegations in her situation was like maybe she had mental health issues that, required her to have a conservatorship. However, my understanding is that Michael was a grown man, 18 years old when this went down, right? You cannot legally adopt an adult, is my understanding, or that was their argument, which is why they didn't go through the adoption process. But again, for the lawyer to say that he's tried this play before, and y'all didn't just willingly give up the conservatorship at that point, begs the question of what are the actual facts that occurred, right? Because now I'm looking at you like, well, if he tried this play however many years before or once again, and you at any time said we can get rid of this conservatorship, why are we here today?
Right. Why do you even have to ask for it, right? Because a 37-year-old grown man, unless there's some issue that we don't know about, he was able to handle himself, travel, be part of a team, NFL. Why does he have to ask you? Why aren't you setting him up? I have a daughter, and I can't imagine doing this to her. And by the way, Mr. Tuohy, the Tuohys couple, sold his company for $200 million. Now they say they got a small advance from the production company, and they gave Michael Oher, they call him now Mr. Oher, an equal cut. My daughter has a little bit of acting, a little bit of modeling. Now she's only made $25. Full disclosure, I've not taken one penny. And do you know what I've spent to get her ready for these opportunities and whatever it is? Because they tell you, this stage, $25, you got to bring your own clothes, okay? I don't want to profit from her. And to me, that's telling. And I wonder if that kind of evidence, again, circumstantial, can be presented in a courtroom, because this thing does look like you hire Marty Singer, and you can talk about who he is. This is going to court, baby. We're going to go to distance.
Oh, absolutely. I would say that. And I would also say, just really quickly, like, look at the words that have been used in their prior interviews where they say, we just wanted to help Michael. We just wanted the best for him, right? And he couldn't have gotten to school otherwise. And so it begs the question of, well, did you groom him for that, right? Because why wasn't he able to get into school without you signing a conservatorship? And how did that assist him? We need to look at the NCAA rules when it comes to this, right? And why they went the route that they went. And then also to say that you guys got an equal cut. Well, that depends, right? Because from what I've read and seen, there was like a split in half of everyone in the family got like maybe 14,000 allegedly, and then Michael himself got 14,000. But in my opinion, if we're splitting this evenly, let's think about it in community property, right? You split that in half, and then your half gets to divide that half amongst themselves, and Michael keeps his own half. So that's kind of the issue that's bothering me in looking at this, but have fun in court.
Wow, and that's why we love, and I am now legally hype, okay? That's why we love you, and that's why we love having you on, because that's an interesting perspective. Community property,